Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is 6-2 notes dividing exponents. Your objective, you'll be able to simplify exponents using division. Simplify scientific notation by using division. Alright, so let's just jump right into it. We're going to see problems like this, where you have the same base and different powers in the exponents. But what's different about this problem compared to the problems we've done in the past is now that we're involving division. When we have something like this, where it's the same base and we're dividing that same base, all we have to do is subtract the powers. So the number in the numerator, so the power in the numerator, 8. Then we're going to subtract the power in the denominator, 4. So 8 minus 4 gets us 4. So our answer for the first one is C, 10 to the power of 4th. Let's look at this one. We have the same base, which is 5, and the same power. So we have 8 in the numerator power and 8 in the denominator power. 8 minus 8 gets you 0. So what we have here is 5 to the power of 0, and anything to the power of 0 is just 1. So the answer number 2 is A. Problem number 3, make it a little bit bigger. So we have 6 to the 4th divided by 6 to the 2nd. We have the same base, so 8 to the 4th divided by 6 to the 2nd there. 4 minus 2 gets us 2. So we have 6 to the power of 2 in the numerator. And then when there's nothing there in the denominator, we could just write 1. Or nothing at all. And 6 squared over 1 is the same thing as 6 squared. So the answer to this one will be B. Alright, let's look at number 4. This one we have 9 to the 6th divided by 9 to the 8th. Now, this one's a little bit different because the higher power is in the denominator. When the higher power is in the denominator, that's the location of where we're going to put our answer. So the bigger number, 8, is in the denominator, so our 9 goes in the denominator. And then we're going to do 8 minus 6, which is 2. Now there's nothing left over since the higher power is in the denominator, so we just have a 1 up top. So it'd be 1 divided by 9 squared. So this one, the answer is A, 1 to the 9 over 2. Look at that problem number 5. You got that same scenario again, where we have a V and a U. Oh, look at that, a V and a U. Those are two different letters. When there are two different letters, you can't do any subtraction. You can't do any simplifying when it comes to the V and a U, because there's two different variables. However, 6 divided by 9, you guys know you could simplify that a little bit further. 6 divided by 9, we do 6 divided by 9, math 1, enter on our graphing calculator, and we get the fraction 2 over 3. Now since we can't do anything with the V, we rewrite the V. And since we can't do anything with the U, we rewrite the U. So our final answer is 2V divided by 3U to the 22nd, which is C for number 5. Looking at number 6, as you can see, they're starting to get a little bit more complicated because they're getting a little bit more variables in one. That's okay. It's just the same procedure over and over again, except in bigger, so you just have to do a couple more times the same procedure. So now 19 over 28. If we hit math 1, enter on the graphing calculator, unfortunately it does not simplify any further. So 19 divided by 28, enter, math 1, enter, we still get 19 over 28. So we know we could already eliminate A, and we can eliminate B, then we can eliminate D to get our answer of C. Now let's do the rest of the problem just so you have an understanding, just in case if there's multiple answers that were still available. a to the 23rd power divided by a to the 6th power. Now, you gotta ask yourself, where's the bigger a power? Is it on the top or is it on the bottom? As you can see, a to the 23rd, that's bigger than a to the 6th. So we're gonna put the a on top. Now, how much bigger? We do 23 minus 6, which gets us 17. Now b, well, there's no other b there, so you just rewrite the b to the 8th power. We don't have to do any moving because it's a positive, not a negative. Don't forget from the previous lesson, if there's negative powers, you can move them, either from bottom to top or top to bottom, to get rid of that negative. Looking at problem number 7. We got 24 divided by 9. Now 24 divided by 9, when we put that in the calculator, that does simplify out. They're both divisible by 3. Which gets us 8 over 3. So let's write that in. We get 8 over 3. Now looking at our m's, we have 1 to the 25 and 1 to the 28. Since the 28's on the bottom, we're going to put our m on the bottom. Now how much bigger is 28 from 25? Well, 28 minus 25 gets us 3. So you put a power of 3 right there. Now looking at the n's, n to the 8th and n to the 17th. Well, 17 is bigger than 8, so I put an n on the bottom. How much bigger? Well, 17 minus 8 gets us 9. So we have 8 over 3, m to the 3rd, n to the 9th. So 7. The answer is B. Let's look at number 8. Once again, we want to simplify those numbers so it's nice and pretty. So 6 divided by 25. We put 6 divided by 25 in our calculator. Then we do math, 1, enter. And unfortunately it stays the same, it's 6 over 25. That's the most simplified form. So we rewrite that, 6 over 25. Now we have x to the 1st. Nope, there's no x's on bottom, so we just write x to the 1st on top. Y to the 3rd divided by y to the 3rd. Well, 3 minus 3 is 0. And y to the 0, just like I said before, anything to the power of 0 is just 1. So this would be like a times 1 if we wanted to write it. But since there's already something there in the numerator and something in the denominator, we don't need to worry about those ones. Because anything times 1 is just itself. So that's why we got 6x divided by 25, which is going to be D in this one. Let's look at number 9. We have 4n to the power of negative 2 times p to the 4th, and then divided by p to the negative 2. So just like what we talked about in the previous lesson, we're going to get rid of those negatives first. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 divided by 1 is just 4. So I'll write that 4 in there. Now n to the negative 2, we have to get rid of that negative, so we're going to move that n from the top, the numerator, down to the bottom. That's how we get rid of the negative and the power. Now p to the 4th, let's just leave that up there for now. And then p to the negative 2, well, we got to move that up. So we p to the positive 2. Now, we're almost there. P to the 4th times p squared gets us actually just p to the 6th. We could combine the 2 and the 4, we could just add them together. So now this turns into p to the 6th. So 4p to the 6 over n squared gets us b. Alright, looking at number 10. We have y to the 0. Well, anything to the power of 0 is just 1, so let's just replace it with a 1 for now. So that y to the power of 0 just turns into 1. So 1 times. Now we have z to the 4th. So let's write z to the 4th the 3. 3 is on the bottom, so we write the 3 there. And now z to the power of 0, well, that's times 1. Z to the power of 0 is just 1, so 3 times 1, which is just 3. So we could erase that times 1. And 1 times z to the 4th, we could erase that one. Because 1 times anything is just itself. So we have z to the 4th divided by 3, which is b. Alright, number 11. Doing a whole bunch of problems here just to help you understand this. 2 divided by 4 simplifies math 1 enter. After we type in that fraction, we know that simplifies down to 1 over 2. 2 divided by 4, math 1 enter, simplifies down to 1/2. M to the 3rd, well, there's an m to the 4th here on the bottom, so we're going to put m on the bottom, and then 4 minus 3 is just 1. I'm going to put a little 1 there for now. Might even be a good idea when they get bigger to cross them out, the ones that you use. N to the negative 1, well, I'm going to move that down here. P squared, I'm going to leave that up top. P to the 1st, well, 2 minus 1 just gets us 1. So in fact, I could erase that 2, put a 1 there. So I delete 1 on top and 1 on bottom. So that's p to the 1st because I did 2 minus this 1. And then we have an n squared here on the bottom. Now we got multiple n's, so n to the 1st times n to the 2nd. Well, that's just the same thing as n to the 3rd. So I'm going to erase this n squared. I'm going to put a little 3 on the end. So our final answer is going to be p to the 1st divided by 2m n to the 3rd. And which one does that match up with? Well, that would be this guy, C. Let's look at number 12. We have 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is just 2. Or 2 over 1. We want to be on point, so I'll leave that there. Our B is there. Our C, well, C is to the power of 0, so I don't even have to write anything there. I just let it be. And then a squared stays on the bottom. So you have 2b over 1a squared, or 2b over a squared, which is a. So 12 is a. Alright, now we're going to get into a little bit more of the complicated stuff, where it involves the scientific notation. This is just meant to be more of a challenge or extra credit, whatever I tell you in class. So, number 13, it says, simplify, write each answer in scientific notation. So we're going to be dividing scientific notation, which is a little more challenging. We need to put these in the same power. So I'm going to change this -8 into a +7. When I do that, I'm actually have to move the decimal place 1 place. Now, times -8, that means I'm making this 4.1 a lot smaller. So, if I'm going to change it to a -7, I have to move the decimal place 1 to the right. I'm sorry, 1 to the left. I knew I had made a mistake there. So let's write that out. So 0.41 times 10 to the -7. This one, this numerator in a fraction is the same thing as what I just typed out. Those are the same exact number. Just when I move that decimal place 1 to the left, I could add 1 to the power. If I moved the decimal place 1 to the right, I would have to subtract 1 and it'll turn into a negative 9. Now that I got this, it's going to be the same power. I could divide things out. So I'm going to do 0.41 divided by 8. 0.41 divided by 8. I'm going to get 0.05125. So let me write that out. Zero point zero 5125. Now that's going to be times 10 to the negative 7 power. Now I gotta move that decimal place a couple to the right and to the left. I'm sorry, when you have times 10 to the negative 7 divided by times 10 to the negative 7, when they're the same, they just cancel out. So that's gonna be our answer as a decimal. But now we need to make this into scientific notation. So we're going to move it 2 to the right, a decimal 2 to the right. So we just have one number to the left of the decimal. And when we move it 2 to the right, it's going to be times 10. When we move it 2 to the right, we subtract 2 from the power. So our answer is going to be 5.125 times 10 to the negative 2. So our answer for number 1 is D. Let's do one more. We have problem number 14. We have 2 times 10 to the negative 8 divided by 8.7 times 10 to the negative 2. Now I want to make both of these the same, so I'm going to make this negative 8 into a negative 2. So I'm adding 6. So that means I got to move this decimal place to the right 6 times. So it'll be 2.0000. And when I move it over 6 times, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 2 million. Times 10. And since I moved it to the right 6 times, I add 6 to that negative 8. So negative 8 plus 6 gets us negative 2. What I did, I changed how we write that numerator. So it's a prettier number. Now I'm going to do 2 million divided by 8.7. And what I get, I'm going to get 229,885.0575. And that's going to be our answer in decimal form, but we got to make it in scientific notation form, so we move it to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. Since I move it to 5 places to the left, it's going to be times 10 to the negative 5. We get 2.28. Oh, I miscounted. I meant negative 6. So it'd be A. Alright, here's another example you could try on your own. Here's another one. Classwork and homework. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or come next show. I'll be happy to help you out. Have a good night.